All right, here's our review video. I'm probably going to go pretty fast. So take down what you need, rewatch what you need, be ready for your test tomorrow. So this first part is just asking you to identify some important things. First of all, the vertex, you all know that's this turning point right here. So we're just going to name that as an ordered pair, 3, 4. The axis of symmetry runs down the center of the parabola. Remember that it's called a parabola. There will be a question about that on your test tomorrow. So it runs down the middle. You can look two places. Either you can draw that or you can just use the x part of the vertex. Remember, axis is x, so that's x equals 3. Domain is always going to be all real numbers. Y-intercept is where we're crossing the y-axis, so I'm going to look, and that's going to be right here at -5. Make sure you name it as an ordered pair, so that's 0, -5. Range, that's going to be our y values. So this is y. Because it's opening down, we're going to say less than or equal to, and our value is 4. You can either see that as the maximum value here is 4, or you can look at the y part of the vertex and use it from that point. And then roots, remember there are 4 words that you need to know that are equivalent. Also a question on your test tomorrow. Those 4 words are roots, x-intercepts, solutions, and zeros. All of those mean the same thing. So we're just looking on the x-axis. Again, those are separate points, so we want to name them as ordered pairs. And so you should have written down already 5, 0, and 1, 0. All right, for our questions here at the bottom, these are very much like your quiz questions were. Remember on these, if you're just given a graph, sorry, not a graph, an equation, the first thing you're going to have to find is the axis of symmetry. So axis of symmetry, you do need to have this formula memorized. The axis of symmetry is x equals -b over 2a. b is the number in front of the x term, and a is the number in front of the x squared term. Since b is already negative, since -8 is already negative, this is going to be +8, or if you want to write -8, you can, over 2 times 2, which is going to be +8 over 4. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 2. That's this line down 2 right there. All right, after you find the axis of symmetry, we're going to plug that back in to find the vertex. So we're going to do y equals, plug 2 in. Let's see, plus 10. And you are going to need to work that out. When you work that out, you should get 2 again. All right, that means I'm going to plot my vertex at 2, 2. And then the only other thing, there's 2 other places you can find points. We can find the y-intercept is at 10 here. Then we can obviously find a matching point, a symmetrical point on the other side. But the other thing is to look for the pattern. Remember, the basic pattern is 1, 3, 5, 7. And this has a multiplier of 2 in the front. So the pattern I want to use, that's the basic one, the pattern I want to use is 2, 6, 10, and 14. So that means from my vertex, I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 6 over 1, and if I had room, I would go up 10 over 1 next. All right, same thing on the other side, up 2 over 1, up 6 over 1, right, up 10 over 1. And that is going to give us this U-shaped parabola. All right, question 3, very similar, start in the same place. Axis of symmetry is going to be x equals -b, so -4 over 2a. Since there's no number in the front, a is going to be a 1 right here. All right, that's -4 over 2, which is -2. We're going to plug that back in. So I'm going to graph that axis of symmetry. Plug that back in to find the vertex. Y equals 2 squared plus 4 times, -2 squared plus 4 times -2 plus 1. Make sure when you do -2 squared that you do that in your head. -2 times -2 is +4. Sometimes your calculator will give you a wrong answer for that. And when I do that, I'm going to get -3 here. So my vertex is going to be at -2, -3. All right, and then, like we said, our last 2 points, we can find the y-intercept by looking for the constant term in the quadratic function. So that's going to be +1. And then we can also find our pattern. This one has a 1 in the front, so my pattern is just my normal pattern for x squared, which is +1, +3, +5, +7. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1. And then, as you can see, this is already up 3 over 1 to find the next point. And I'll just do the symmetrical points on the other side. and there's my parabola. All right, I did question 4 with you in class, so I'm not planning on doing that one again. Most of you were able to check these in class today, so the only one I'm actually going to do on this page is going to be question 7, just to give you another example to work with. So remember, inside, this right here is called vertex form, which means it's going to give us the vertex. So inside's the opposite, so since it says -1, I know that's going to be +1. Outside's the same. Inside's opposite, outside's the same. So the outside is going to be -1. There's my vertex, 1, -1. And then my pattern looks like it has a multiplier of -2 here in the front. So instead of the traditional pattern, 1, 3, 5, 7, I need to multiply all that by -2. So that's -2, -6, -10, -14. So when I go to plot that, from my vertex, I'm going to go down 2 over 1, down 6 over 1, and if I had room, I'd go down 10 over 1. So we're going to go ahead and do that, down 2 over 1, and down 6 over 1. Same thing to get symmetrical points on the other side, and there's our parabola. And then we're going to name the domain and range, which we did in class today. Domain is all real numbers. Range is y less than or equal to, because we're opening down, -1. All right, simple as that. We did cross off, if you for some reason weren't paying attention, we crossed off 8 through 11 in class today. Okay, remember, on this side, you're supposed to do all 14 questions, so I am going to go through all 14 of these, probably pretty quickly, but I'm going to go through them. All right, question 1 says, what's the degree? Remember, degree is when we take the exponents. Since this is in its own term, this is all just one term, we're going to add those exponents. So there are 3 x's and 1 y, which means the degree here is 4. Question 2 says, add these, what is the sum? Even if it had just said, what is the sum, know that sum and addition are the same thing. So it's really just asking you to combine like terms. Remember that when we add, exponents stay the same. They do not change. All right, so things that can combine together here. I've got 15x squared and 6x squared. That's going to give me 21x squared. -10x is the only term with just an x, so that's -10x. And then -7 and +8 can combine to give me +1. Remember that the best way to write these is going to be in standard form, which is when you're counting down in exponents. But if you don't write it, that's not necessarily going to be counted wrong. All right, question 3 says, what is the product? You need to know that product means to multiply. And when we multiply, the exponents are going to change. Remember, we're kind of counting them up. Most of you think we're supposed to add them, which is true. So I'm going to do 8 times 2 here is 16. I've got a to the 3rd and a squared. That's going to give me a to the 5th total. And then b squared and a b is going to be b to the 3rd. Don't forget this b out here that doesn't have an exponent on it. If it helps you write a 1, do it, because you want to make sure you get that right. Question 4 says, multiply these, what is the product? On all of these multiple choice questions, I really recommend, you need to write out all the work. If you're not writing out the work, you're going to make silly mistakes because they're trying to trick you in the multiple choice answers, and I promise you that they will try to trick you on your state test. So you got to be smarter than that. All right, so remember, if we've got 2 terms in the first parenthesis, we've got to double distribute here. Some of you are going to do the box method. So instead of distributing like that, you're going to set up your little box that says 2x and a 1, x and -1, and you're going to multiply. However you do that, you're going to end up with terms, and I'll just go ahead and fill this in. You're going to get 2x squared, and x, -2x, and a -1. And then you always want to combine or simplify your answers. So here, we can combine those. They both have an x term, which means my final answer is going to be 2x squared minus x minus 1. All right, that's C right here. Notice that B, option B, was trying to trick you. It was trying to make you think that you were only maybe supposed to multiply the first and the last, which you know is only an option. Only an option when you have conjugates. These are not conjugates, so you can't take that shortcut. All right, question 5. So question 5, does each of the following result in 4x squared minus 25? Okay, so they're really just asking us to work each one of these out and see which ones give us 4x squared minus 25. I expect to see work shown for you on this question when you turn this assignment in tomorrow. Notice that these are conjugates, so I can use the shortcut in here. So I can do first times first and last times last, because we know the middles will cancel. That's going to give me 4x squared minus 25, so A is going to be yes. I do not know why I filled it in that way. Yes. All right, B. You are actually going to have to multiply that out. So set up your box, distribute, do whatever you need to do. That's going to give me, if I distribute the 4x, that's going to give me 4x squared minus 4x. If I distribute the 25, that'll give me 20 plus 25x minus 25. I don't even really have to keep going because I realize in my answer here, they're saying that that the middle is somehow going to cancel, that I won't have a middle term, and I know negative 4 and positive 25 aren't going to cancel each other out, so this is going to be a no. Part C. Now, part C is a little tricky. Remember, when you have this written with the exponent, you have to actually write the problem out yourself. So that means we're going to have to do 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 5. When I do that, I'm going to get 4x squared plus 10x plus 10x plus 25. And now we can tack on the rest of this they've given us, minus 20x minus 50. So we're curious, is that going to give us that 4x squared minus 25 at the top? So I've got plus 10x minus 20x. Hopefully you recognize that all those will cancel. And then positive 25 and negative 50 is going to give me negative 25, so that one's going to be a yes. All right, last one, D. Again, we're going to have to set that problem up to begin with, 2x minus 5, 2x minus 5. Very similar answer that I got for the first one, except these are minus 10x's in between, plus 25. And then I'm going to tack on what they had at the end of that, plus 20x plus 50. And I notice my x's, negative 10, and positive 20 will cancel. 25 plus 50 is going to give me 75, which is not what I'm looking for, so that one's going to be a no. All right, I know that was a big problem. 6 asks me to subtract, or what's the difference? Remember, if you have subtraction, you got to distribute this negative 1, which is going to change all of those signs. So this is really the problem. X squared plus 5x minus 6 plus 2x squared. If I distribute the negative 1 again, I'm going to get plus 3x plus 7. And then I'm just combining like terms here. So my final answer should be 3x squared plus 8x. That's from the 5x and the 3x. And then plus 1 from the negative 6 and the positive 7. And question 7, we're going to distribute, double distribute, or you can make the box, however you want to set that up. You should get x squared, let's see, plus 15x, plus 14x, plus, I think it's 210. Yep. And then I just need to combine like terms here, so my final answer, x squared plus 29x plus 210. All right, question 8 is really a shorter version of question 4. Again, you're just going to be needing to work out all the answers to see which one is equivalent to the answer that they give us. This is a lot easier because we're just distributing once. So on A, if I distribute the y, that's going to give me 9y squared plus 9y. All right, definitely not equivalent. Should be, to be honest with you, this answer has 3 terms. So A, B, and C right off the bat should kind of stand out as being wrong to you because no matter what the numbers are, if you distribute, there's no way you can go from 2 terms to 3. If you don't really follow what I'm saying, I can go ahead and work these out to show you that they still don't work. That's going to give me 6y squared plus 3y, still not equivalent. The next one is going to give me, let's see, 9y squared plus 6y, still not equivalent. So it's the last one, if I distribute the 3y, that will give me, in the end, 3y to the third, right, because that's 2 y's and another one, plus 6y squared plus 3y, which is obviously here going to be my correct answer. Question 9 is kind of like an axis of symmetry question. Pretty simple. They're just asking what's the value when x is -1. So they're really just asking you to plug -1 in there. So 2 times -1 squared plus 7. Ooh, 7 times -1 minus 11. Remember, -1 times -1 is +1, so be careful trusting your calculator on that. So this should be 2 times +1. I don't even need to write that out. You know what 2 times 1 is. It's 2. Minus 7 minus 11. That's -5 minus 11, which is going to be -16. So the answer is -16. Question 10, what is the product when you multiply? I don't know how to convince you that using the box method is going to be your best option on these really big problems here. Remember, there's so much to keep track of. So if you're going to use the box method, we can go ahead and set that up. All right, we're going to do a 2 by 3. So 3x and -3, 2x squared, -x, and +2. So we're just going to multiply all that out. That's going to give me 6x to the third, -3x squared, 6x, -6x squared, +3x, and -6. And then we'll just combine like terms. And if you use the box, it's generally pretty easy to see which terms can go together. So I'm going to have 6x to the third. I see that I can combine these x squareds and those x's separately. So minus 9x squared plus 9x and minus 6 at the end. All right, that's going to be our answer. Very similar option for question 11. So if you haven't already done it, go ahead and pause the video and work out question 11. All right, so I have my box set up. If you want to just check what you've got, 3x to the fifth is going to be 15x to the third, 8x to the third, 40x, -7x squared, and -35. Things that can combine together. I notice that I've got 2x to the thirds here that can combine. And that's going to be all. So my answer is going to be 3x to the fifth plus 23x to the third minus 7x squared plus 40x minus 35. Notice how I keep myself organized by just working in order of the exponents. So I do like highest exponent all the way down until I've done all the pieces. So the answer that this is going to match with, let's see, it looks like that's going to be, I think it's going to be none of these. It looks like C is maybe the closest answer. The only thing that's wrong on C looks to be the sign on 40, but all of the other signs are correct. So I will just double check and make sure that we don't have any typos like that tomorrow. But I'm going to say C is the closest, but really you all should probably have the correct answer written there and just have a note that it's none of those. All right, question 12. All right, what I like about question 12 is that question 12 doesn't actually have it set up for you yet. So you have to know what this word product means. And product is going to mean to multiply. So you know you've got to set that up. 7x plus 2 and 7x minus 2. Now you all, hopefully you recognize right away that those are conjugates, which means the middle's going to cancel. You know that it should be subtraction. So notice that right off the bat, A doesn't make any sense, and B doesn't make any sense because it's got an addition symbol in there, so I know that's not right. Then we know that we can do the shortcut here. We can do just the first, which will be 49x squared, and just the last, which will be -4. So that's going to be my answer is D. Question 13. They're talking about a rectangle. Every time you all see a question about a shape or something, draw the picture. It's going to help you make sense of what they're telling you. So we've got a length of a rectangle is 2x plus 1. The width of the rectangle is x squared plus 2x minus 1. Which expression represents the perimeter? Now, perimeter is all the way around. It's all 4 sides, so you need to make sure that you write out all 4 sides, or I'm afraid that you're going to make mistakes. So x squared plus 2x, I'm running out of room, minus 1. All right, so now we can combine. You can write this all out as one big thing. I just go ahead and actually look at it and combine from my picture. So I notice I have an x squared and an x squared, which will give me 2x squareds. I have 2x, 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 and 2x. That's going to give me 8x. I have plus 1 minus 1. Those will cancel. And a plus 1 minus 1. Those are going to cancel. So it looks like my final answer is going to be C here. Question 14. Whew, almost done. How many terms are in the product of those two things? All right, so this question is asking you to know a few different things. First, you have to know what product means. We just said it. Product means to multiply. So I'm going to be multiplying these two things together. How many terms is not asking you for the answer. It's asking for a single number. How many pieces will be left when you multiply those two things? So you are probably going to have to multiply them. But no, we're just answering like an answer of how many terms are left, not an actual like polynomial as our answer. So 3x squared minus 2x minus 5, x negative 1. We're going to fill out the middle here, so it's going to be 3x to the third, negative 2x squared, negative 5x, negative 3x squared, positive 2x, and positive 5. And we want to know how many terms will be in the answer. So I know I'm going to have 1 right here with my x to the thirds. These x squareds, they're not going to cancel each other. They're going to combine, so that will be another term. My x's here, those will combine. That will be another term. And then the 5 will be left. So I can look at this and go ahead and say that the final answer is going to have 4 terms. Now, it may help you to actually get the answer and then count them up. So if we do that, that's going to be 3x to the third minus 5x squared minus 3x plus 5. All right, that is going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So whatever is easiest for you. If it helps you to just work the problem like normal and then answer the question, feel free to do that. Okay, on this page, remember the directions in class were that you needed to pick 5 to do. Because you all are picking 5, and the chances of you all picking all different 5 are pretty high, I'm not going to do a video over all of these, so you will get a stamp for having this part completed when you come in tomorrow, and then we will just check. I'll throw the answers up on the board so you all can check the 5 that you did.